So to start off part two, here's Dragon Quest IX, published by Nintendo, I guess to help the series gain popularity in the West, since it's so popular in Japan but not anywhere else. It's pretty much a basic RPG. This series is pretty much known for playing it safe, but it works for what it is. I mean, it's pretty much like a casual RPG. Anyone can play. It's kind of like Pokemon in that if you die, you don't lose progress. You kind of like lose a little bit of money and you can progress again, which I guess I kind of like since I hate losing progress. Definitely in RPGs, since I mean that could be like an hour or two just completely gone. So yeah, I'd recommend this if you like the series, you probably already played this, so yeah. But if you're new to the series, I'd still recommend this one. Which brings me to another game, Dragon Quest V. Actually haven't played this one yet, but it's pretty much agreed to be the best in the series. I mean, at least before 9 came out. I don't know how 9 ranks among enthusiasts, but it supposedly has a really cool story, and it didn't. I don't think this came out in America until the DS game came out. I could be wrong, but yeah, it's pretty rare now to find. It didn't sell that well, and they didn't produce that many, but yeah, I got this pretty cheap, so that's why I got it. But yeah, I look forward to playing this one day. That's pretty much all the insight I have there. The next two, I have the Game & Watch Collection and Game & Watch Collection 2. They're both Club Nintendo prizes, which is basically like a rewards program for if you register first-party Nintendo games, you get points and then you can spend them on stuff. And these were the two I chose. They're pretty much Game & Watch compilations, as you can probably tell by the title, but they're actually not that great when compared to other compilations, like the Game & Watch Gallery series on Game Boy, Game Boy Color, GBA. Those are actually much better because they have more games and they have like updated graphics too. So, I mean, I don't really see the point in playing these games unless you actually have the physical Game & Watch portable system, since those are like cool in their own way. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't pay money for these, definitely not. But I actually wish they'd put up the Tingle games that were in the European and Japanese Club Nintendo stores, since they've yet to come out in America, which is a shame since America is easily the biggest market for Zelda. I mean, not to get on a rant or anything, but Europeans, like, they don't really care about Nintendo in the same way Americans do. Like, in the GameCube days, like, the only reason why GameCube was even relevant was because of the American market. Sorry to get a little, sorry for sounding bitter if that's the case, but whatever, let's move on. Picross 3D. I don't know why I'm reviewing this before the other Picross, but it's kind of hard to explain Picross. I guess I'll explain the 2D one, since just explaining the 3D one without any context seems impossible. But it's basically like a grid, kind of like a Minesweeper grid in a way, and you have to. Well, you know what, I can't even explain it, but it's a really great game, a great series. They're also on other Nintendo consoles, like there's Mario Super Picross on Game Boy and Super Nintendo, although I think some of those didn't even come out in America. I believe there's like a European-only one, but yeah, these are great puzzle games, and the 3D one is no different. It's actually a bit easier than the original Picross for DS. And they have a lot of downloadable puzzles from Nintendo, so that's cool. So you pretty much never run out. Yeah, I definitely recommend both of them. Next up is Kirby Superstar Ultra. This is a remake of the Super Nintendo game Kirby Superstar. It's pretty faithful. It has a few new features, like some little mini games that aren't very good for the DS version, but it's pretty much Kirby. I mean, some say this is the best traditional Kirby game. That doesn't really appeal to me, as I've learned. I guess I don't really like Kirby games that much, except for like the spin-offs or the creative ones like Canvas Curse. The only mainline Kirby game I guess I really liked was Kirby and the Crystal Shards, the N64 ones. I believe that was the title, but yeah, I don't know. These games are really easy. These are for like beginners. Maybe if you have a 3 or 4 year old son or whatever, or daughter, give them a Kirby game. But I don't know. It's not my kind of thing. I mean, they're just kind of dull, to be honest with you. I think Kirby's a really interesting character. The other characters aren't, though. They're kind of boring. So, yeah, that's too bad. Next is Super Princess Peach. This is also a pretty hard to find game. This went out of print, and it's actually more expensive than the new Super Mario Brothers if you bought it used. And this is basically a concept that you'd expect from a series that is 20 plus years old, almost 30 really, where you play as Peach and you try to rescue Mario. I guess in the same way, it's not really canon, but in the Zelda CDI games, you actually play as Zelda on one of them. I believe it's called Zelda's Adventure. Could be wrong, but yeah, this is actually more fun than it deserves to be. I kind of liken it to Super Mario Brothers 2 in that it uses that universe pretty faithfully. And there's pretty much a divide between Super Mario Brothers 2 and the rest of the Mario canon, because you don't really see much of the Super Mario 2 universe in the mainline Mario games. I mean, yeah, there's a Shy Guy in like here or there. Like, I believe there's a couple Shy Guys in Super Mario 64, and of course there's the Bob-ombs, but for the most part, they kind of keep the Super Mario Brothers 2 universe separate and reserve those for spin-offs, which this game clearly is, and it's a cool platforming game. It's not just for girls, as you can imagine, but yeah, I'd recommend this if you can find it. It'll cost you though, probably $30. Considering this is like 4 years old, that's kind of a lot. And next is Advance Wars Days of Ruin. It's a long-running series. It started out on the NES, Famicom Wars, I believe. Didn't come out in America till Advance Wars, which is why it's called Advance Wars for the GBA. It's pretty much a strategy game. It's actually pretty popular. Like, the people who like this series really, really like it. But they gave this game kind of a darker tone, which some people didn't like. But it's pretty good. It's not as feature-rich as the original DS one, which is Dual Strike, I believe. Advance Wars Dual Strike, which is a short acronym for Advance Wars DS, which is a common theme in DS games. But yeah, this is definitely, I recommend this one, especially if you're an Advance Wars fan. But it's kind of hard to use that if you're a fan, then I recommend, because if you're a fan, you probably already played it. So I guess I'll stop using that phrase. Next is Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass. I think it's a pretty good game. It's not remarkable. It's not like up to the standard of a Zelda game, in my opinion. I mean, the mechanics are solid in terms of like the dungeons, but I didn't like the all stylus controls. You basically use the stylus to move and battle with the sword and such, but I don't know, I'd rather use buttons, to be quite honest with you. And I don't know, it's just an unremarkable game. It doesn't capture the emotion of especially the N64 games like Majora's Mask and Ocarina, but Yeah, it's just a mechanics game basically, which isn't a problem, but it kind of waters down the brand name in a sense. Like, I'd rather Zelda be like a once every 4 year franchise, maybe one or two games per generation. So that's just my opinion. Next up is Kirby Squeak Squad. I haven't played it, but I got it on sale one day. I don't really know if I plan on playing this game, but since it's Kirby, and as we've said, I don't like Kirby games all that much, but yeah, I guess we can move on. Trauma Center Under the Knife. This came out very early in the DS's life. There's actually this phenomenon before the DS came out. Like, people were laughing that there was a doctor game and a lawyer game coming out, Phoenix Wright and Trauma Center. But when they actually came out, they turned out to be pretty popular. So I got this one thinking, or kind of believing in the hype, and it's alright. It's not that great. It's one of those games, though, where it's hard and you can hit a hole or hit a wall where you can't beat it, then you just put it down forever, which is what I did a long time ago. I know a lot of people do like these games, but I'd watch some videos first to see if you like this kind of game. It's basically like a surgery game. It's not quite a simulation. It's pretty over the top, but use the stylus kind of like a surgeon would use. I don't know what tools surgeons use, but you can imagine, I guess, what you do in this kind of game. Next is Yoshi's Island DS. This is, I think it's a sequel. It might be a prequel. I don't really know or care. But it's a sequel to Yoshi's Island on the Super Nintendo, which was a really beloved game. Kind of holds like an underdog moniker because a lot of people don't even consider Yoshi's Island to be in the mainline series. That's a debate into itself. It is called Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island in America, but that was just like the American name that I believe it's something Nintendo of America branded on the game to make it sell more. I could be wrong. But I don't consider Yoshi's Island canon, but it's definitely as good as a mainline Mario game. This is an okay game. It's fundamentally a similar game to Yoshi's Island, but the level design isn't as strong. Some levels are just too long, in my opinion, and the music isn't nearly as interesting, and the dynamic of different characters, like you can play as Baby Mario, Baby Peach, Baby Wario, and Baby Donkey Kong, as you can see on the box. But yeah, it's I guess it's a must play if you like Yoshi's Island, but otherwise, I guess you can skip it. It is still pretty fun. Okay, and next up is Zelda Spirit Tracks. I'm not going to get into this too much. It's pretty much suffers from the same thing Phantom Hourglass did. This is a better game than Phantom Hourglass, and it's interesting in that you can play with Zelda as kind of your I don't know the word, but as your partner, I guess. But yeah, the train thing is kind of lame because it's just like a sorry excuse to not include an overworld, which Zelda has done for a while now, with the exception of Twilight Princess. Like, Wind Waker didn't have a real overworld. It has like the sailing, which I really liked in that game, but I'd like a real Hyrule. I hope Skyward Sword has one, but yeah, this is a good game. Just like I said, unremarkable, which isn't what you should be saying about any Zelda game. I wish they'd go in a more creative route, just like Link's Awakening for the Game Boy and later Game Boy Color did. That's actually my favorite 2D Zelda game, which used to be a controversial opinion, but now I guess a lot of people like Link's Awakening now, which is definitely a good thing. I'd highly recommend that one. And next up is Rhythm Heaven. This game, it was made by the same people who made WarioWare. There was actually a Japanese one for Game Boy Advance. It's called Rhythm Tengoku, which I hear is a better version. I'd like to import that one day. But this is basically, it's not quite a Guitar Hero game, actually. It's a really strange game. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically you're given different scenarios, like maybe manufacturing a robot. I think that's the first or second one in the game, but there's basically like a rhythm going on, and you have to kind of hit the rhythm with your stylus as the animations kind of complement the rhythm. Like, sorry, I can't really. Like I said, I'm not a musical person, but it's a good game. I don't like it as much as other people do. I hit a wall in this game, but this is one I definitely want to go back to since I'm a huge WarioWare fan. I think this came out on the same day the DSi came out, just for stupid historical trivia. But yeah, I still recommend this one. Sorry for the terrible explanation of what the game is, but here's Mega Man ZX. Didn't get too far in this one because it's a really, really bad game. I'm a big Mega Man fan, so whenever they come out with a new Mega Man series, I like to try it out. And as you can see, the characters look lame. Like, Zero used to be a badass, but look at him now. Same with Mega Man. And yeah, there was like this map feature that was hard to understand and wasn't very action-based, and I don't know, just wasn't fun at all. Couldn't recommend this to anyone, not even hardcore Mega Man fans, to be honest with you. Next up are the Castlevania games. I only have two lists right here, but I also have Dawn of Souls, which came out around the time the DS came out. This is Portrait of Ruin and Order of Ecclesia, I believe that's how it's pronounced. And these are solid games. They're definitely not Symphony of the Night quality, but they're what you'd expect out of a Castlevania game these days. They're 2D. I don't like the term Metroidvania because, yeah, I don't know. It's just not my kind of thing. But yeah, they're solid. They're not spectacular. I still recommend them, though. Order of Ecclesia is actually really hard, as people can probably tell you. And Portrait of Ruin kind of isn't exactly like a Metroidvania. I believe they're just like regular levels and stuff. But yeah, Dawn of Souls, I'd say that's a really good one. Had some gimmicky stylish stuff, though, which a lot of early DS games had, but yeah, that's pretty much all I can say. If you haven't played Symphony of the Night, I'd recommend those for sure. And especially Dracula X Rondo of Blood for the Turbo CD. It's also on the Wii Virtual Console now. Also PSP, but I hear the PSP version isn't that good compared to the Wii one. Well, actually, I know for a fact that it's not since I have it, but yeah. Next up is Snowboard Kids. This is a really bad game. Probably one of the worst games I've ever played or ever owned. I'd say it's as bad as Little Big Planet at least, but maybe worse because I had expectations for Snowboard Kids 2 because, not 2, but 2 is in TOO. But anyway, Snowboard Kid was a series on the N64. They released 2 of them. I don't think there are any more than that, but I rented them a long time ago. They were actually pretty fun, so when I heard there was Snowboard Kids on the DS, I was really excited, but I put this in, and you can already tell from the box art, I mean, they're barely even kids. Like, these are extreme snowboarders or whatever. They already look like douchebags, but yeah, the game just isn't fun at all. It's not anything like the N64 ones. Anyone can tell you that. I'm pretty sure this disappointed a lot of people who wanted a game that was just like the N64 one. I don't know how they got that wrong. It's too bad. This is Picross, as I alluded to earlier. I'm not going to talk about this too much. I definitely recommend this. It's a ton of fun. So, yeah. And that's about it for part 2. This has gone on for 20 minutes or so, so I'll finish it up with part 3.